Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Wacky and Weird Wednesday, where we cover all the wacky and weird news that's been going on this news cycle. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we've started, and if we haven't had any caffeine. So, what weird and wacky things are happening in the headlines today? Today on Before Coffee, British indie band robbed at gunpoint on first day of their U.S. tour.
And the Meatpacking district in New York is not necessarily known for meatpacking. It used to be, and now the last meatpacking plant is closing.
EU pushes back deforestation law by a year after outcry from global producers. Are the poor corporations not going to make enough money? Good luck when you don't have a planet.
And someone taught rats to drive cars, and it's going to make us all happier.
The weird and wacky world of impersonators. What it's like to be Brent from The Office.
And it's National Sock Day, and also National Santa's List. So, if you really need some socks, you know what to do. December 4th, 2024, on Before Coffee.
Socks are great. I'm not wearing socks right now, but I don't like wearing socks because I like to feel the ground under my feet. I don't know what's wrong with me.
It's kind of cold here, so I'm wearing socks all the time.
I do have like big fuzzy socks for when it's cold, but I only have one pair, and they get, obviously if you only wear those all the time, they get dirty. I need more pairs, I guess.
Yeah, feet's a good way to... Having cold feet's a good way to get sick.
Yeah. Buy me some warm socks. Anybody watching this, donate to me for some warm socks. Okay. Let's cover my first weird story, which is coming out of the US from a British indie band, which I'm sure they'll tell me the name of the band. Sports Team, that's the name of the band. The British band was robbed at gunpoint on Tuesday, so yesterday, the 3rd of December, in California on the first day of their US leg of the tour. This is on The Independent by, I don't know if it's written by anyone. Shahana Yasmin. I can't see. Here we go. The indie group was getting coffee at a Starbucks in Vallejo, California on the 3rd in the morning when they were alerted by a passerby that someone was robbing their tour van. Oh no! They forgot to lock their van. A cell phone video that the band posted on their Instagram account shows a person taking items out of the van. The members said the robber pulled out a gun when they tried to intervene. The statement on social media, the band said their equipment was still intact, so they were driving to Sacramento to perform. They just robbed us at gunpoint 10 minutes in the US tour. Stop for coffee. Man runs in saying some guys are smashing into our van, run out to try to stop it and find a masked guys ransacking the van, start yelling and they pull out a gun. Police response was submit an online report. Lost a lot of personal gear, but they didn't get the instruments, so driving on to Sacramento to play tonight. Statement said. They can take our Nintendo Switches, but they can never take our ability to play rock songs about motorways. In all seriousness, pretty shocking how resigned everyone seemed to be. It happens. 9 a.m. at some petrol station in Starbucks. Wild. That's right, don't be confused. Crime-ridden America, where the police only help you if they can shoot you. Band told the BBC that they lost their passports, documents, stage equipment, and the suitcase carrying their clothes. So, we're going to be wearing the same things for the next 2 weeks. Somebody opened the door and was like, does anybody have a white Sprinter van? Because you're being robbed right now, drummer Al Greenwood told the BBC, while describing how the robbery went down. So we all ran out shouting. Lauren, our tour manager, was slightly ahead of me, and somebody else ran past us in the opposite direction and said, careful, he's holding something. So, enjoy that. Welcome to America! Just like Mexico, well, at least what they entail Mexico is like, right? Everyone's, the crime-ridden streets of Mexico where you're getting robbed in Sacramento of all your clothes. Who steals clothes? Oh, we better sell this clothes on the market.
Yeah. Smartasses. Smartasses steal your clothes.
I really thought I was about to watch someone get shot, because it took a while for our tour manager to realize. The band added they had called the police, who told them to file an online report and sent no one to the site. The band was initially scheduled to begin their US tour in San Francisco, but was rescheduled after the band faced delay with their travel. The band was on the way to perform at Goldfield Trading Post in Sacramento when the robbery took place. So, make sure to watch your stuff. I guess you have to leave somebody to watch the van now in the US, because the crime is rampant in Sacramento. Very odd, very wacky. Nobody was hurt, and they only lost, all their clothes. Literally, their clothes was robbed off the back of them. But nobody was hurt, so just some materialistic losses. Wacky and weird as it goes. On to your story.
All right. Well, terrible that people get robbed in the first place of anything. But there's lots of scumbags out there, and some of them should be in jail. Okay, so we're going to go to the Meatpacking District in New York City. And, of course, if you know anything about New York City, you know that the Meatpacking District is where all the nightclubs are. Not all the nightclubs, of course, it's a big city, but it's a trendy, let's say, after midnight place.
Yeah.
But it used to be known for, surprise, what? Meatpacking. So AP News has the story Joseph B. Frederick and Cedar Anastasio. I think I got that right. My eyes aren't working so great this morning, so we're a little blurry. Wait for him to catch up.
A little slow.
Yeah, everything's just extra blurry this morning. This is a little bit long, and I'll try to get through it. When John Jabagi's grandfather immigrated from Budapest in 1900, he joined a throng of there we go, reading poorly again. He joined a throng of European butchers chopping up and shipping off meat in a loud, smelly corner of Manhattan that New Yorkers called the Meatpacking District. Today, only a handful of meatpackers remain, and they're preparing to say goodbye to a very different neighborhood, known more for its high-end boutiques and expensive restaurants than the industry that gave it its name. Jobagi and the other tenants in the district's last meat market have accepted the deal from the city to move out so the building can be redeveloped, the culmination of decades-long transformation. The neighborhood I grew up in is just all memories, said John Jabagi. Let's call him Jabagi.
Yeah.
Who is 68. It's been gone for over 20 years. In its heyday, it was a gutty hub of over 200 slaughterhouses and packing plants, an intersection of shipping and train lines where meat and poultry were unloaded, cut, and moved quickly to markets. Now the docks are recreation areas, and the abandoned freight line is a High Line Park. The Whitney Museum of American Art moved from Madison Avenue next to Jabagi's Meat Company in 2015. Some of the new retailers maintain reminders of the neighborhood's meatpacking past, and the exposed brick entrance to the outlet of fashion brand Rag & Bone, which sells $300 leather belts, is a carefully restored sign from a previous occupant, Dave's Quality Veal, in red, white, and hand-painted lettering. Skipping. But the neighborhood no longer sounds, smells, or feels like the place where Jabagi began working for his father in the late 1960s. He worked through high school and college summers before going into business for himself. Back then, the meatpackers kept bundles of whiskey in their lockers to stay warm inside the refrigerated plants. Outside it reeked, he said, especially in the hot days. He misses that. I'm sorry, he misses that. That's just weird. Anyway, right? Outside it reeked, he said, especially on the hot days near the poultry houses where the chicken juices spilled onto the streets. Oh my God, don't eat breakfast. Don't be eating breakfast now. Nobody eating breakfast. Stop what you're doing. People only visited the neighborhood if they had business, usually transacting in handshake deals, he said. Wow. Slowly but surely, meatpacking plants began closing or moving out of Manhattan in advances in refrigeration and packaging enabled the meat industry to consolidate around packing plants in the Midwest, many of which can butcher and package more than 5,000 steers in a day and ship directly to supermarkets. And there's a lot of pictures I got to scroll past. Picture. Starting in the 1970s, a new nightlife scene emerged as at bars and nightclubs moved in. Many catering to the LGBTQ community, sex clubs and slaughterhouses coexisted. And as the decades wore on, the drag queens and club kids began giving way to fashion designers and restaurateurs. By 2000, Sex and the City character Samantha had left the Upper East Side apartment for a new home in the Meatpacking district. But by the show's final 2003 season, she was outraged to see Pottery Barn slated to open near her local leather bar. Another turning point came when the 2009 opening of the High Line on a defunct on a defunct rail track. Originally built in the 1930s, the popular greenway is now flanked by hotels, galleries, and luxury apartment buildings. Jobagi said his father died 5 years before the opening and would be baffled at what it looks like now. I told him that the elevated railroad was going to be turned into a public park. He never would have believed it, he said. But the area has changed constantly, noted Andrew Bierman, executive director of local architectural preservation group Village Preservation. And it's got a lot of pictures of the old architecture and the old meatpacking plants. It wasn't always a meatpacking district. It was sort of a wholesale produce district before that. And it was a shopping district before that, Berman said. In the early 1800s, Fort Gansevoort stood there. Fort Gansevoort, that sounds Dutch, right? Stood there. So it's had many lives, and it's going to continue to have new lives. Though the exact eviction date for the last meat market has not been set, some of the other companies will relocate elsewhere. Not Jabagi, who has held on by supply high-end restaurants and the few retail stores that still want fresh hanging meat. He'll retire along with his brother and employees, most of them Latino immigrants who trained with him and saved up to buy second homes in Honduras, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic. Some want to move to other industries in other states. He expects to be the last meatpacker standing when the cleaver finally falls on Gansevoort Market. I'll be here when this building closes, when everybody moves on to something else, Jabagi said. And I'm glad I was part of it, and I didn't leave before. There's a story on the meatpacking plant in Manhattan. Back to you.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The meatpacking plant that is no longer there.
Yep. Yeah, well, it's the what do they call them? March of time. I don't know. Progress. March of time. Whatever. Again, meatpacking plant. Yeah. They're basically slaughterhouses, and they're not slaughterhouses, but it's basically just like the next stage after the slaughter. It's like, and they didn't have refrigeration. Don't forget that they had to hang the food in freaking these ice box houses or whatever the heck, and people didn't have refrigerators in their homes. They didn't have freezers in their homes, right? Yeah. And refrigerated railroad cars didn't exist. Well, they did exist, but they were based on ice. It's just ice melting. Yeah. Anyway.
It's crazy because you can look at that kind of stuff like 20, 40 years ago. It really does change a lot of places. Like even the village I live in. Oh, yeah. Where the bridge is now, there wasn't a bridge there 40 years ago. 40 years ago, the bridge was actually just a normal wooden bridge that was like went across. It wasn't like this stone bridge that was high enough for ships to go through. So it's pretty crazy how stuff can change over time and how the places look completely different. New buildings rebuilt. New buildings will get taken down.
Change. Anyways, you cannot stop progress.
Speaking of building things, I hope you want wood because they are pushing back the deforestation law in the EU. That more global producers. I don't know what that really means. It might be also farmers, not just people who lumber the trees. But unfortunately, in my wacky news segment by Raf Kassert on AP News, the European Union agreed to delay by a year the introduction of a new rule to ban the sale of products that lead to massive deforestation, giving in to demands from several producer nations from across the globe and domestic opposition within 27 nation bloc. Well, sometimes, this is the problem with capitalism, right? People want to keep going up and up and up. They don't want to plateau. They don't want to go down. They want to keep going up. So yeah, of course they're going to complain, wait, if we can't do this, we're going to go down. Yep. You know what also is going to cause it go down? Having no customers because we're all dead. Officials said today on the 4th of December that the EU member states, the EU Parliament, and the Executive Commission reached an agreement in principle following weeks of haggling whether the initial rules would have to be watered down even further than the simple delay by 1 year. Originally, it was supposed to kick in this month. The deforestation laws aimed at preserving forests on a global scale by only allowing forest-related products that are sustainable and do not involve the degradation of forests. It applies to things like cocoa, coffee, soy, cattle, palm oil, rubber, wood, and products made from them. Deforestation is the second biggest source of carbon emissions after fossil fuels. So you've got fossil fuels, deforestation, animals. The animal industry. The lead negotiator among the different EU institutions, Christine Schneider, called the delay to implement nature protection rules a victory, adding it would give foresters and farmers protection from excessive bureaucracy. Well, that's good. They're protected from bureaucracy. I hope they're fine with that when all the forests catch on fire and then they don't have anything. What the hell? You know that's a threat. You know what's a threat to me every day? Excessive bureaucracy. You know, I know some dude died from that once. Environmentalists immediately criticized the moon. With our planet's forest destroyed further every day, we cannot afford to delay to much-needed environmental protection laws like the EU's anti-deforestation legislation, said Giulia Bondi of the Global Witness Group. Officials from the leading exporters of affected commodities, including Brazil, Indonesia, and the Ivory Coast, fear the regulation could act as a trade barrier, hit small farmers, and disrupt supply chains. It will. And you're just going to have to live with it. Because you know what also disrupts supply chains?
Yeah.
Everyone being dead. Like, why don't these people understand? Oh no! I stubbed my toe. This is the worst thing ever. You know, your foot could get smashed. And then you won't have a foot.
Right.
Come on. Make a decision here. Under the deal, rules are now scheduled to start December 30th, 2025, so next year, for large companies, and June 30th, 2026 for small companies. The different EU institutions will still have to individually approve the deal, but since they agreed on the measures, this is likely to be a formality. In offering to delay the regulation by a year, the EU Commission has said it heeded the complaints of several global partners about their state of preparedness for the rules. Oh, we're not ready! Well, yeah, they'll just keep saying that, won't they? Well, wait, we're not ready yet! We gave you a year. Yeah, but we need at least another year. Okay. Oh no, all my forests burned down and you need to pay for this. No, I think you should pay for it because you're the one who didn't want to help 2 years ago. Some EU governments, including Austria and Germany, have also sought to water down the regulation or delay its introduction. With the delay, some governments sought to add more measures that would weaken original rules, allow for more exemptions, even if that was not agreed to in the current deal. Schneider said the Commission had committed itself to updating the deforestation law within a year. Greenpeace has said that the extension will condemn the world's forest to another year of destruction. I agree. It noted a UN finding that an area of forest about the size of Portugal is cut down worldwide each year. And it's not growing back fast enough because it takes a while for trees to grow back. Instead of rolling back its environmental agenda, the EU needs to keep its commitments and show leadership to tackle the climate emergency, said Bondi. I agree. This is just really disappointing. And yet again, another proof how our world is run by economics and not anything else. Because people will just complain and complain. Wait, my money though! Who cares about your money? It's not real. I mean, tangibly, it's made up. You know what is real? The planet existing. People being alive on it. That's real. Oh.
Yeah, but you want to be richer than your neighbors. That's all that matters. I want to be richer than my neighbors.
I don't want to sign 3 extra documents when I'm submitting my strawberries on the market. Well, maybe you should stop selling strawberries and go into something else. Maybe it's just time to do something else. I mean, the farmers really want to punish, the EU or whatever for making laws that they have to follow, maybe they should just stop being farmers. And then there'll be a famine, and then they'll be like, haha, we win. See, you need us. Or something.
Yeah, right. And then they'll show us. People grow your own food, everybody. It's not...
They're not going to do it, though.
It's hard making the time.
They're greedy and they want money. That's all I'm saying. They're not going to say, I'm going to stop. No, because they... money. So they're not going to do anything, and they're just going to keep complaining and forcing the planet to slowly die more and more every year. Not saying it's all the farmers' fault. It's also whoever... Like I said, this is also including things that cause deforestation. It's not just farming, but... I'm tired of hearing farmers complain, I guess. Sorry, what did you want to say?
Nothing.
Okay. Your story.
I just said, yeah. Oh. Okay. Well, from farms and how they're depleting all of our natural resources to squeeze a few dollars, we are going to talk about rats again. Like we did yesterday, we had rats that were working with the not immigration, what do you call them? Border Patrol, in Africa, trying to sniff out illegal things being shipped. Now we have rats that can drive cars. Yeah, that's right. This is from bbc.co.uk. Kelly Lambert wrote this article. I taught rats to drive a car, and it may help us lead happier lives. That's right. We crafted our first rodent car from a plastic cereal container. After trial and error, my colleagues and I found that rats could learn to drive forward by grasping a small wire that acted like a gas pedal. Before long, they were steering with surprising precision to reach a Fruit Loop treat. As expected, rats housed in enriched environments, complete with toys, space, and companions, learn to drive faster than those in standard cages. These findings supported the idea... Taking my glasses off so you don't get that reflection. Sorry about that. This finding supported the idea that complex environments enhance neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change across the lifespan in response to environmental demands. Yeah, if you're intellectually stimulated, you're going to be eager to learn, right? Yeah. You just have no interest in anything. It's not a whole lot going to change that. After we published our research, the story of driving rats went viral in the media. The project continues in my lab with new, improved rat-operated vehicles, or ROVs, designed by robotics professor John McManus and his students. These upgraded electrical ROVs featured rat-proofing wiring, because they love to chew wiring, indestructible tires, and ergonomic driving levers.
Ooh.
Are akin to a rodent version of the Tesla's Cybertruck. Oh boy, that's a bad model. The ugliest truck that everybody hates. Yeah, unless you're a total
give me a rat drive truck.
unless you're a total idiot, sort of their common sense to Elon Musk, then there's no hope for you. Anyway. As a neuroscientist who advocates for housing and testing laboratory animals in natural habitats, I found it amusing to see how far we've strayed from my lab practices with this project. Rats typically prefer dirt, sticks, and rocks over plastic objects. Now we had them driving cars. But humans didn't evolve to drive either. Although our ancient ancestors didn't have cars, they had flexible brains that enabled them to acquire new skills: fire, language, stone tools, and agriculture. But sometime after the invention of the wheel, humans made cars. Although cars made for rats are far from anything they would encounter in the wild, we believe that driving represented an interesting way to study how rodents acquire new skills. Unexpectedly, we found that the rats had an intense motivation for their driving training, often jumping into the car and revving the lever engine before the vehicles hit the road. Why was that? Concepts from introductory psychology textbooks took on a new hands-on dimension in our rodent driving laboratory. Building on foundational learning approaches such as operant conditioning, which reinforces targeted behavior through strategic incentives, we train the rats step by step in their driver educational programs using Fruit Loops as a reward. Man, somebody should reward me with Fruit Loops. They'd probably get more work out of me. I'm serious. Initially, they learned basic movements such as climbing into a car and pressing a lever. But with practice, these simple actions evolved to a more complex behavior such as steering the car towards a specific destination. The rats also taught me something profound one morning during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Really?
It was the summer of 20, a period marked by emotional isolation for almost everyone on the planet, even laboratory rats.
Yeah.
When I walked into the lab, I noticed something unusual.
They were depressed?
The three driving trained rats eagerly ran to the side of the cage, jumping up like dog does when you asked if you want to take a walk.
They do that.
Had the rats always done this? And
yes.
Yeah.
Rats do always do that.
Driving.
I had 10 pet rats, right? And when I'd walk up to the cage, they would go, look, she's here.
Yeah.
She's gonna let us out. We're gonna be able to roam the room.
Life is good. Life is good. This is what I've been waiting for all of my life. Had the rats always done this and I just hadn't noticed? Were they just eager for the Fruit Loop or anticipating the drive itself? I bet you it's a drive.
Yeah.
Because driving is fun. It's fun.
It's very
Whatever the
good for
case,
your
they
brain.
appear to be feeling something positive.
And it's very good for your brain to be doing
Whatever the
something
case.
like that.
Right. It's boring sitting around just going, oh, feed me and give me
explode.
stimulus from outside. When you can generate your own fun,
Exactly.
that's when you're doing it, right? Yeah. Humans, it's the driving. It's not just getting Fruit Loops. I don't think that's it at all. It's like, Fruit Loops, what do you fucking do? Sugar high. Whatever the case, they appeared to be feeling something positive, perhaps excitement and anticipation. Behaviors associated with positive experience are associated with joy in humans. But what about rats? Why would rats be different? I don't understand why people think that.
We've already covered that rats
wasn't I
are
seeing something
very similar to humans. That's why we do that's why their lab rats exist. Because we test stuff on lab rats because they're similar to us. So why are we surprised when they're like, oh wow, they're just like us?
And the rats also do another thing. They just prodigiously reproduce. So you can have plenty of them around for lab.
I mean, they're going to be, that's what takes over when we all die. It's going to be instead of humans, it's going to be a bunch of rodents that are going to take over.
I'm betting on the insects. I think we're going to make it really inhabitable. Rats will be probably doing all right, but I think
are the reason
eventually
we're
be
here.
giant. I'm thinking in 10 million years, you come back in 10 million years, it'll be giant ants or something like that.
The only reason we exist is because the only thing that lived through the dino extinction was a rodent.
Right.
We're all descended from rodents.
Cockroaches.
No, we're not descended from cockroaches.
Cockroaches too. Well, the only mammals that survived, you mean?
Yeah,
the only
mammals.
mammals.
We're all descended from the small little marsupials hiding in the
There was not a lot of
bushes.
big mammals. While there was dinosaurs, mammals were very small, right?
Yes.
Horses were small, right?
And after the dinosaurs
Because
left,
the calories, all the plants were ours after that.
Yeah.
All the plants, we get all the plants.
that was mammal giganticus.
No dinosaurs.
And that's why
And nothing.
avocados exist. Because avocados are giant berries for those giant mammals. Because they're the only thing that can poop out a seed that big.
And why do mammals walk on our back legs? Because of the savanna plains of Africa. Because the grass got too high for them to see. So the ones that could look over the grass and didn't get killed by something.
These are all theories, of course.
With that, my team and I... Okay, back to the rats. Was I seeing something akin to joy in rat? Maybe so, considering that the neuroscience research is increasingly suggesting that joy and positive emotions that play a critical role in the health of both human and non-human animals. With that, my team and I shifted to focus from topics such as how chronic stress influences brains and how positive events and the anticipation of the events shape neural functions. Working with postdoctoral fellow Kitty Hartvickson, I designed a new protocol that used waiting periods to ramp up anticipation before a positive event. Bringing Pavlovian conditioning into the mix, rats had to wait 15 minutes after the Lego block was placed in their cage before they received the Fruit Loop. They also had to wait in their transport cage for a few minutes before entering Rat Park, their play area. We also added challenges, such as making them shell sunflower seeds before eating. This became our Wait For It research program. We dubbed this new line of study users unpredictable positive experience responses, where rats were trained to wait for rewards. In contrast, control rats received their rewards immediately. After about a month of training, we exposed the rats to different tests to determine how waiting for positive experiences affects how they learn and behave. We're currently peering into the brains to map the neural footprint of extended positive experiences. Preliminary results suggest that the rats required to wait for their rewards show signs of shifting from pessimistic cognitive style to an optimistic one in a test designed to measure rodent optimism. They performed better on cognitive tests and were bolder in their problem-solving strategies. We linked this program to our lab's broader interest in behavioraceuticals, a term I coined. So this is the writer, not me. I coined to suggest that experience can alter brain chemistry similarly to pharmaceuticals. The research provides further support of how anticipation can reinforce behavior. Previous work with lab rats has shown that rats pressing a bar for cocaine, a stimulant that increases the dopamine activation, already experience a surge in dopamine as they anticipate a dose of cocaine. Give me some coke. It wasn't just the effects of anticipation on a rat behavior that caught our attention. One day, a student noticed something strange. One of the rats in the group, trained to expect positive experience, had its tail straight up with a crook at the end, resembling the handle of an old-fashioned umbrella. I'd never seen this in my decades of working with rats. Reviewing the video footage, we found that the rats trained to anticipate positive experience were more likely to hold their tails high than the untrained rats. But what exactly did this mean? Tails high means they're just can't wait. Curious, I posted a picture of this behavior on social media. Fellow neuroscientists identified this as a gentler form of what's called the straub tail, typically seen in rats given the opioid morphine. The S-shaped curl is linked to dopamine. When dopamine is blocked, the straub tail behavior subsides. What's that?
I just said it's interesting. It's so interesting that it's a hormonal reaction.
Okay, yep, that's right. You have dopamine in your brain. Natural forms of opiates and dopamine, key players in brain pathways that diminish pain and enhance reward, seem to be telltale ingredients of the elevated tails in our anticipation training program. Observing tail posture in rats adds a new layer of our understanding of rat emotional expression, reminding us that emotions are expressed throughout the entire body. While we can't directly ask rats whether they like to drive, we devised a behavioral test to assess their motivation to drive. This time, instead of only giving rats the option of driving to the Fruit Loop tree, they could also make a shorter journey on foot or paw in this case. Surprisingly, 2 of the 3 rats chose to take the less efficient path of turning away from the reward and running to the car to drive to their Fruit Loop destination. This response suggests that the rats enjoy both the journey and the rewarding destination. We are not the only team investigating positive emotions in animals. Neuroscientist Jack Penskep famously tickled the rats. We might have tricked them too. Famously tickled the rats, demonstrating their capacity for joy.
Imagine that, a rat going, "You got me this time, you tricked me, you got me."
What's that?
No, just imagine a rat wiggling its finger at you going, "You got me this time, you tricked me."
No, that's just me.
Not being able
That's just me and my poor eyesight. Seeing a different word than is actually there. But Jack Penskep is the rat tickler. He's the rat tickler, demonstrating their capacity of joy. Research has also shown that desirable low-stress rat environments retune their brain's reward circuits, such as the nucleus accumbens. When animals are housed in their favorite environments, the area of the nucleus accumbens that responds to the appetite experience expands. Alternatively, when rats are housed in stressful contexts, the fear-generating zones of their nucleus accumbens expand. It's as if the brain is a piano for the environment that the environment can tune. Neuroscientist Carl Richter also made the case for rats having hope. In a study that wouldn't be permitted today, rats swam in glass containers filled with water, eventually drowning from exhaustion if they weren't rescued. Yeah, that's kind of cruel. Lab rats frequently handed the humans Lab rats, frequently handled by humans, swam for hours to days. Wild rats gave up after just a few minutes. If the wild rats were briefly rescued, however, their survival time extended dramatically, sometimes by days. It seemed that being rescued gave the rats hope and spurred them on. And you had to drown a bunch of rats to do that, so that's not promoted. Just to be cruel. I guess it's just cruel. Yeah. Driving rats. The Driving Rats project. Let's do this again. The Driving Rats Project has opened new and unexpected doors in my behavioral neuroscience research lab. While it's vital to study negative emotions such as fear and stress, positive experiences also shape the brain in significant ways. As animals, human or otherwise, navigate the unpredictability of life, anticipating positive experience helps drive a persistence to keep searching for life's rewards. In a world of immediate gratification, these rats offer insights into neural principles guiding everyday behavior. Rather than pursuing buttons for instant rewards, they remind us that planning, anticipating, and enjoying the ride may be the key to a healthy brain. That's a lesson that my lab rats have taught me well. So there's your rat story. And Weird Wednesday.
Now, scientists are so funny because they're like, let's do a very conclusive study to figure out things we already know exist, right? Mm-hmm. Wait, people feel good when happy things happen to them? Well, we need to do a conclusive study on rats to figure this one out.
Yeah, speaking of drowning rodents, that old lemming thing. Remember they had that thing where the lemmings are supposedly will go off a cliff by themselves? That was totally invented. That was completely invented by a guy making a nature film for the Disney. Yeah. Right? He basically forced these lemmings off a cliff himself.
Yeah, it wasn't real.
It. That's what he did. And drown them, right? So that's not even a thing lemmings do. They don't. Oh my God, we're all gonna go to the cliff and jump off. That doesn't even happen, unless you make them do it.
Let's put a bunch of humans on a cliff.
That's what that guy did. Anyway.
And then put a giant truck chasing after them and see if they don't jump to the water to their death. Hit by a truck.
So if you've been using that lemming
off a cliff, I don't know. I guess I'll choose the cliff because at least it's my decision.
Oh, right. So if you've been using that old lemmings bromide,
it's not real.
Is not accurate. Yeah. It's not accurate at all. Not accurate. Back to you.
Okay. Well, that was a bit sad, but also very interesting. Let's go ahead and cover my next story, my culture segment, which is about celebrity impersonators, specifically a David Brent impersonator, which is
speaking of culture, I did send you a clip.
Yeah, I already got it. David Brent, who is the main character of the I don't know if he's the main character in both Office, but he's in the British Office specifically. So this is for the British Office, the original. And this is from Daniel Dillon Ray on The Guardian. So this is an interview with lookalikes, character lookalikes. Is the pay really good? Do you get bored? What was the worst gig? The Guardian asked David Brent, Nessa, and Ali G what it's actually like to make your own money by being the spit of someone else's comic creation. Daniel's waiting for David Brent outside of Wetherspoons in the Birmingham NEC. It's 11 a.m. and it's eerily quiet, like a gutted shopping center after a zombie apocalypse. Save for a small huddle of drinkers in the pub. I need a drink of water myself. Suddenly, there's the star of the Office strutting through the exhibition center, suited, booted, and goated, and ready to rock the NRLA 2024 Landlord Conference. But first, Daniel sits down for an interview. Shoot, he says while making a gun with his fingers, before doing an awkward shuffle of his tie as he unfurls that unmistakable grimace. Anybody who watched David Brent knows. Look closer through, and it's clear that this isn't Brent as performed by Ricky Gervais, but by someone else entirely. Tim Oliver has been performing as David Brent for 20 years now. Before that, he ran a successful events business in Sussex. His face was calling out for a near-career turn. It took me a good 18 months to come to terms with the fact that I looked like him. Yeah, that must have been so annoying. Honestly, I don't like it either. When people come up to you and say, you look just like this person, it's like, actually, I look like me. I'm Allison, okay? I'm not that famous actress, and I don't want to be them. I want to be me, and known for being me.
Maybe you can get some side work as an impersonator.
I doubt it. I think the people I look like aren't famous enough to impersonate. It took me a good 18 months to come to terms with the fact that I look like him, he said. Like this weird, awkward boss who just wanted to be loved. People started coming up to me all the time, so I just thought it'd be criminal not to do something with it. He took some photos, sent them to a lookalike agency, booked his first gig. There's a lookalike agency? Wow, there's agencies for everything. Booked his first gig and was soon on his way to call center in Newcastle, upon Tyne, with Del Boy and Basil Fawlty. I was there for 3 hours just mucking about, he recalls. I thought to myself, that was a lot of fun and the easiest money I've ever made. Oliver is hugely in demand. Birthdays, stag do's, corporate events. Stag do's are another word for bachelor parties. And you can see why. Not only does he look like Brent and has his mannerisms lines down perfectly, but his voice is pitch perfect too. Actually, you can't see why, because I haven't shown you a picture of the guy. Here, let me get a picture so I can show you how very similar they look. Oh, add that one in. Direct. Let me turn it on. Go. I accept. Now let me look at the picture. Okay, here's the picture. For anybody out there. He looks like this. So it's not, you know it's not Ricky Gervais, but he's doing a pretty good job of trying to look like him.
Right.
And the guy behind him is also an impersonator. Right, so they're doing a pretty good job. And I'm sure if you act right, it works too. So, I don't know if you can see the guy behind him. It's zoomed in, isn't it? Zoomed in.
You can see it.
There you go. Here's the guy behind him. So that he also looks like, I think, I don't know who this guy is. He's like the awkward guy in the office. But there you go. Okay. So, back to the interview. Where was I? I need to find myself, gotta scroll up for that. Okay. Yes, he's hugely in demand. I ripped audio off the DVDs and played in my car everywhere I went. I drummed into myself. People that have never met me before always ask, is that your real voice? Sometimes it's kind of like I've lost my own identity. Maybe I'm not Tim anymore. Become David Brent. And that's something even actors suffer from. They get too much in the role and they're like, this isn't me. I'm not like that. That's not me. I need to rediscover myself. Who am I? A lot of character actors, like,
Jim
that's
Carrey
why they
when
take
he
breaks.
turned into Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, that's like they take breaks for like months or years because they're like, I need to get out of that role. That role was too intense. I need to remember who the hell I am. Oliver is a huge fan of Gervais, and it turns out perhaps the reverse is also true. Total Film magazine once got the pair together for an interview with Gervais proclaiming that Tim is the best. And Gervais has signed off on an upcoming musical show Oliver is putting together, The Life and Music of David Brent. As purse strings are tightened everywhere, lookalikes offer a more affordable form of celebrity entertainment, and business is booming. One top UK agency has nearly 2,000 people on their books, and while Oliver won't reveal how much he earns, he confirms it can be lucrative. Why don't they ever say, I make $1 billion a year? Okay, cool. You know, why don't they just say, I don't know why people don't share how much they make. I'm going to do that at the end of the year. I'm going to say, this is how much money I made from content creation. I like being transparent. I think people should know the truth. And that's very hard.
It's the plot of Hollywood Confidential, right? It's part of the plot of Hollywood Confidential. Remember the prostitute who was plastic surgery to look like Veronica Lake? Remember that?
Yeah,
because
I remember.
people, right? Kim Bassinger's character, she was looked like a celebrity. Anyway.
There's also Ariana Grande lookalike who actually got banned because she started doing OnlyFans, which if you know anything about OnlyFans, it's not only sex work, but a lot of it is, and she started doing things portraying herself as Ariana Grande. And Ariana Grande is like, I am not going to be associated with sex acts that I did not commit by an impersonator. So she got banned, and I think she also got sued. So you gotta be careful what you do as an impersonator, because some people will think it's really the original person who did those things, and that can be a defamation suit waiting. It's kept me going for 20 years, he says. I've got 4 kids, a nice car, a nice house. So as Christmas party season is up upon us, it seems like the perfect time to explore the unique and slightly unusual world of lookalikes, and the fascinating idea that someone can spend almost their entire life not just as somebody else, but the comedy creation of somebody else, and how that affects your own life. So there's a more of this article, but I think that's really a great place to stop. There's a bunch of other interviews with other impersonators, like Kaz Barrett as Ruth Jones' character from Gavin and Stacey. These are all British impersonators, so if you don't know the British shows, you won't know what I'm talking about, but I know these shows, so I know who I'm talking about. Ali G, of course, was a famous Baron Cohen character. What is his name? Alexei Baron Cohen or whatever. I can't remember his full name. But, just like this rapper, Sasha Baron Cohen's character, Ali G. Somebody also is impersonating that character as well. So, very cool. And talking about, there's actually no legal restrictions on being a lookalike. Danny B has met Sasha Baron Cohen a couple times and said the conversation was dominated by how fascinated Cohen was about Danny's lookalike life. So they have a relatively free reign to do what they want. But surely there is an ethical code. This is what I'm talking about with the Ariana Grande one. Do what they want. But sure, there's an ethical code when it comes to telling people you are not the actual person in question. Brent says there is. But she broke this once. I was doing a live video out in Barrie, she explains, and there was this woman in her 90s and she'd come out of the hospital. She was terminally ill and with cancer and she thought I was Ruth Jones. Her daughter was with her and was just winking at me to say, please just go along with this. The old lady was beside herself and was on her bucket list to meet her and said it was the best day of her life. It is days like that that make it all worthwhile, according to Barrett. You give joy and it brings me joy, she says. Life is tough and there's moment if you can bring some happiness, why wouldn't you? If you can be a character doing the same routines over and over and not grow tiresome or make one feel jaded or stuck. People ask me that a lot, says Oliver. Never ever do. I love it. My wife is a mental health counselor and our job is serious and heavy every single day. I get to travel the world and make people smile. I'll happily go and do that for anyone, anywhere. Except wakes and pornos. Yes, he won't be going to funerals or doing any pornos anytime soon, which nobody should, yet again. I definitely think that's an ethical line you're crossing when you start doing pornography as a character, because people will think it's real. Because people are dumb, or people, are wishful thinking. Let's say it's wishful thinking.
Except our viewers. Our viewers are intelligent.
Ariana Grande get railed. It's not Ariana Grande. It's not her. And get some help. Anyways, that's my story, my wacky word story of celebrity impersonators, and in this case, fantastical character impersonators who make a living off of being somebody else. On to this day in history.
Oh, this day in history. I've been told I look like celebrities. Willie Nelson, especially when I wear a head kerchief. All right, Willie Nelson. I got Jerry Garcia one time. That's just because I had a beard. But Jerry Garcia's always had glasses on, as far as I know.
I have a stoner friend.
Which I do have one now.
I have a stoner friend, so I'll give him, some room to be an idiot. But I posted that video of me and you at Paris, right? And I said, wow, I can't believe Willie Nelson was here at the Eiffel Tower. That's what I said. Right? I didn't indicate it was you. And he said, what the hell was he doing there? He believed me that you were Willie Nelson. So yeah, you're pretty, you can get away with it, I think.
That's right. And I'm always on the road, and I'm always on the road again. Anyway, it's this day in history in the year 1093, I think that is. I got some dirt on my screen. 1093, the Saint Anselm of Canterbury was consecrated as Archbishop. Well, he was already a saint, right?
And then
I don't think he was a saint at the time, right? I don't think there's living saints.
Anyway, I think you have to
1154 in this day.
I think God comes down and says, this person is a saint. And then, after that.
Yeah, a lot of our old written history, unfortunately, just revolves around the church and what they were doing. So it's significant. Like a new pope being elected is kind of significant, but it's the only news for 1154. Adrian IV was elected pope, becoming the only Englishman to occupy the papal throne. All right, Adrian IV. Jumping way ahead to 1679, English philosopher Thomas Hobbes, not the guy from Calvin and Hobbes. Thomas Hobbes died at the age of 91, who was perhaps best known for his political philosophy. Doesn't say what philosophy it was. Oh, and here's a good one. Guess who was born on this day? That's right, Generalissimo Francisco Franco, who led the nationalist forces that overthrew the Democratic Second Republic in the Spanish Civil War of 1936-39, that old fascist, and subsequently was a dictator of Spain until his death. Was born, well, it's his birthday. So Generalissimo Francisco Franco, still dead, but we know his birthday is. It's December 4th. 1909, the Grey Cup was first awarded as the Toronto Varsity Blues defeated the Toronto Parkdale team in Canada's amateur gridiron football championship game. Now it's a professional cup that they award the oldest trophy in professional football is the Canadian one. 1918, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson departed for France to attend the Paris Peace Conference, where, following the cessation of hostilities in World War I, the League of Nations were established at the Treaty of Versailles. So, Woodrow Wilson, who had a stroke and pretended to be president for like the last 2 years. 1949 is the birthday of Jeff Bridges, one of them guys I've been told I look like because I got long hair and a beard, and the dude abides. Happy birthday to Jeff Bridges, born in 1949, turning 75 today. Woof. And
Wow.
in 1969, American civil rights leader Fred Hampton, a charismatic leader of the Black Panthers, was shot and killed during a police raid in Chicago. His death caused public outrage, and the ensuing investigation brought greater scrutiny of the FBI's attempts to dismantle the Panthers and other black organizations. Of course, J. Edgar Hoover was a virulent racist. Don't forget that. And he ran the FBI from its beginning until the mid-70s. In 1970 was the birthday of Jay-Z. Happy birthday to Jay-Z, American rapper. 1980, the Led Zeppelin broke up on this day. Several months after the death of drummer John Bonham, the British rock band Led Zeppelin announced that it was officially disbanding. The group later reformed for short one-off performances on several occasions. No, they didn't. They didn't reform because John Bonham was dead. And without John Bonham, you don't sound like Led Zeppelin. You just sound like a cover band. So, sorry. Led Zeppelin had to break up, and they stayed broke up. And they should have never hired another drummer. They never really did. They never really tried to reform the group, and that was the right choice because the Led Zeppelin sound was all in the drums. I mean, you forget any other band. If you hear that drummer going, you're going, wow, he's really killing them drums. I wonder if the drums are going to survive this song. Anyway, in 1996, the unmanned space vehicle Mars Pathfinder was launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, in order to explore the surface of Mars. So we started going to Mars. 2000, on this day, Surinamese politician Hank Aaron, not Hank Aaron, Hank Aaron, who helped Suriname gain its independence from the Netherlands and served as prime minister from 1973 to 1980 until being overthrown by the military. Well, anyway, he died on this day in 2000. So that is our featured event. Let's go to our featured event. Our featured event, Ivan the Terrible, proclaimed Grand Prince of Moscow. Just like that one guy wasn't born a saint, I don't think Ivan was born as Ivan the Terrible. He just became terrible over time. On this day, in 1533, the 3-year-old who became Ivan the Terrible was proclaimed Grand Prince of Moscow upon the death of his father, Grand Prince Vasily III, with his mother ruling in Ivan's name until her death in 1538. So a 3-year-old, and he got to be, I guess, Ivan the Terrible when he went through his terrible twos, right? He invented the terrible twos, and he became prince when he was 3. There you go. Grand Prince. Hello. I don't speak Australian. Just kidding. I know they speak English. Wasily Kandinsky was born this day. Died didn't die or was born? Why are we remembering somebody whose birthday or death day is not the same? Anyway, our feature biography, Wasily Kandinsky, Russian-born artist, and it says, born December 16th, 1866 in Moscow, and died December 13th, 1944, at the age of 77 in Neuilly-sur-Seine, France. Why we're remembering these on December 4th, I have no idea. Seems like something for either December 16th or December 13th. You threw me a curve there. Threw me a curve there.
Yeah.
On December 4th, okay. On December 4th, 1944, she was about to die. Okay, there you go. There you go. Or he. I'm not even sure if it's a man or woman. Okay, and our other birthdays today. Francisco Franco, we covered. Albert Bandura, American psychologist, born 1925. We already covered. Jeff Bridges. And Jay-Z. And it's Tyra Banks' birthday. Tyra Banks is 51 today, born in 1973. And those are your birthdays. And now we're going to our National Day calendar, which is a lot of stuff. National Package Protection Day. Yep. If you're in the United States, we have these things called porch pirates because Amazon does this thing where they just dump a package, take a picture, and get the hell back in their trunk. You don't know a package is even there. And so your neighbor or somebody passing through the neighborhood sees the Amazon truck and they go doop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doo. And if you don't have a Ring camera, you never even saw what happened.
Yeah.
Right? So, porch pirates. So again, it's National Package Protection Day. They should call it National Personal Package Protection Day. Make me pop more peas while I talk.
Imagine that putting landmines under your porch.
Oh, yeah. Junior got his arm blown off, but hey, at least we didn't get ripped off. It's National Cookie Day. Cookies. Who doesn't like cookies? National Dice Day. So go out there and either, I don't know, play Yahtzee or craps or whatever you can do with dice. Play Monopoly. Roll them dice. 7 come 11. It's National Sock Day. It's Wildlife Conservation Day, which should be every day. National Cabernet Franc Day, which is looks like a pinkish wine. And it's Santa's List Day. It's all of those things. Santa's finally making his list, and he's going to be checking it twice later. I don't think this is the day he checks it twice.
I think he checks it before he leaves.
He's probably not even checking it once. Right. And hopefully he's bringing you socks. And hopefully that the porch pirates don't break into your house and take the presents from under your tree. So, and it's Package Protection Day. So those are your days. Those are your birthdays. Those are your news. Comprehensive news of the world for December 4th, 2024 on Before Cookies.
All right. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, and of course Raj from the West Coast of the United States, where it is, 5 a.m. now. We will see you tomorrow for our Thursday 13. I don't know. I guess you still don't have your whiteboard. You didn't take your whiteboard with you? You do?
No whiteboard.
Okay. So we will be telling you a list. No whiteboard.
I can write it on the wall.
Yeah, we'll just write it on the just write it on their wall. List of 13 things is gonna be a surprise, so we don't even know what it is yet. So we'll see that tomorrow. So if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Of course, turn on those notification bells so that you know when we go live or post a video. And comment down below what you would do to protect your packages from porch pirates. If you even have that problem, we don't have that problem in the Netherlands because we don't deliver things on porches. If they can't deliver a package, they send it to the local distribution center, or they give it to your neighbor. And you can write down, yes, I trust my neighbors, give it to my neighbor. And of course, since I live in a village, you know your neighbors, right? You at least know the people on your street. You say hi to them every day. It's quite hard for them to steal from you. There'll be a big drama if they do. And everyone will shame them if they steal your stuff. America, you're a little farther away from your neighbors sometimes, and you probably don't even see them sometimes. ever.
Yeah, I got a Amazon package a couple of months ago. The guy left it at the wrong house, took a picture, right?
Yeah.
And I went outside to get my package because I saw the alert, right? I go outside to get the package, there's no package. And I look across the road and there's the Amazon guy. I think your mom was outside. The Amazon guy's pulling out.
Why did he go that way? Yeah.
And I showed your mom, I was like, oh, that's a neighbor's house. Yeah, they left my package across the street to the neighbor's house. So, and they just pulled off, and I was yelling, "Hey, stop! Bring my package over here!" But he couldn't hear me.
Recently, I don't know what it is in the rest of the world,
Anyway.
but I know in the U.S. it's a federal crime to steal people's mail.
Oh, it's federal crime to steal mail. I don't think
Yeah.
it's a federal crime to steal something off somebody's porch. It's just a theft, you know. Still against the
Just
law.
normal
You
theft.
still go to jail for it. Forget the federal part, you know.
Yeah. Still gonna go to
Anyway.
jail. Anyways, that's our...
Actually, federal cases take longer anyway. Federal cases take longer.
Yeah.
Local are a lot quicker.
That's our wacky and weird news for the week. We'll see you tomorrow. Here is our celebratory mic drop moment.
Hell yeah. Okay.
You owed sodas, Gary.
It's Jeff Bridges' birthday. That's why this is up.
Sorry to hear about Donnie.
We celebrate the dude.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes, you know.
A nice bowling
Hey,
tournament.
man,
Or I guess
Sometimes-
getting ready for the tournament.
Dude,
Yep.
I wondered if I'd see you again.
I wouldn't miss the semis. How
Oh,
things
yeah?
been going?
Oh, you know, strikes and gutters, ups and downs.
Sure, I've got you.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary. Well,
What is he,
take
like
care, man.
50
Gotta
in
get back.
this?
Sure,
40?
take it easy.
Now he's
dude.
75.
I know that you will.
Yeah, well, the dude abides.
The dude abides.
The dude abides.
Old Sam Elliott.
I don't
Yep.
know about you.
Also a great
but I take
actor.
comfort in that. It's good knowing
Mhm.
he's out there. The dude. Taking her easy for all us sinners.
I always thought this narrator, this like omniscient narrator thing was really interesting.
Well,
For the
that
film.
about does her. Wraps are all up. Things seem to have worked out.
All he got
pretty
to do
good
is
for
dare.
Dude and Walter. And it was a pretty good story, don't you think? Made me laugh to beat the band. Parts anyway.
Oh.
I didn't like seeing Donnie go. But
That was
then I
sad,
happen
watching
to know
Donnie
that
go.
There's a little Lebowski on the way. I guess that's the way the whole darn human comedy keeps perpetuating itself.
I'm sure nothing bad will
Down
happen.
through
Mhm.
generations, westward the wagons, across the sands of time until we. Oh, look at me. I'm rambling again. Well, I hope you folks enjoyed yourselves. Catch you later on down the trail.
Yep.
Say, friend, got any more of that good
I think
stuff?
this is all one shot too, right? No cuts. They just did the scene,
Oh,
did
yeah.
like a rack focus.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.